Hello and welcome to November's Wellness Moment on weight management. So just an overview of what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about what is a healthy weight, how do you lose weight, and then how do we set goals and make a plan so that we can accomplish our weight management goals. So my goal for you all today is that you would understand what a healthy weight is and how to determine if you need to lose or maintain your weight. So often when we think about weight and we go into the doctor's office, they often take our height and weight and then calculate our BMI. The BMI is a measure of our weight relative to our height. It gives an approximation of total body fat, and that's what increases the risk of diseases that are related to being overweight. Diseases include diabetes and hypertension, but BMI alone does not determine risk because it's not a great estimate of what our body fat is. All things considered, these are what the ranges are for a BMI. Normal is 18.5 to 24.9. Overweight is 25 to 29.9. Obese is 30 or higher. People who are underweight are usually 18.5 or less. But again, BMI might be overestimating our body fat in people who are very muscular or who have swelling from fluid or retaining fluid. So if you're having some more puffiness going on or if you're retaining more fluid, then BMI is going to be overestimated. Waist circumference is another measure that gives us a better picture of overall body composition. So if we have two people with equal weights, so we'll pretend like a football player here, who one is a football player and he weighs 350 pounds, but he's working out, he's on the D line for the football team, maybe for the Bengals or the Browns. But then we also have somebody who's 350 pounds but doesn't do anything to work out and is not very active at all. So these two, if you're comparing them, the one with the narrower waist circumference is going to be your football player. And so this tends to help give us a better picture about muscle mass versus body fat. So too much fat in the belly area actually leads to an increased risk of disease. Waist circumference over 35 inches for a woman or 40 inches for men is considered high. And again, this is just giving us a better picture. Not a perfect picture, but a better picture than what our health diseases by BMI alone. So when we are talking about healthy weight loss and weight management, if you need to lose weight, the most effective way to do so is slowly. Experts recommend losing no more than a half a pound to 2 pounds per week. Getting more than that, you tend to lose more muscle mass. And so it's kind of an unsaid thing. When you want to lose weight, you want to lose fat. You don't want to lose muscle. But I think most of us would agree with that. People who lose weight gradually are more likely to keep that weight off. So again, you're retaining more muscle mass. Muscle mass helps keep our metabolisms higher. This process can be achieved by making long-term changes to daily exercise and eating habits. So these are little baby steps, little tiny baby steps. There's not a magic formula to weight loss. The idea is your calories in being fewer than your calories out. So fewer calories than you expend per day. And there are a lot of different calories that you're going to expend for just daily processes, but then activity on top of that's going to contribute to more energy output. And then the amount of calories you burn up in a day also depends on your body size, how active you are. That takes some calories to digest food. There's a lot of different factors that go into your calorie intake per day as far as what you need. A quick note on fad diets. Many popular eating styles will limit one or more food groups or will limit a macronutrient that will cause you to limit a food group. So if you're thinking about your food groups, think about your 5 different food groups. You got your grains, your fruit, your vegetables, which can be split up into starchy vegetables and non-starchy vegetables. You have your dairy, and then you have your meat or your meat alternates. So plant-based proteins or your animal-based meats. There's also fats and oils, so nuts and seeds and avocados are healthy sources of fats and oils too, as one of the food groups. When you're thinking about the macronutrients, all of the different macronutrients. You have carbohydrates, protein, and fat. Those are going to make up all of your food groups. So trying to think about, like, if you cut out carbohydrates, you're going to be cutting out those portion of the food groups if you try to cut them out completely. If you're just trying to limit them, you're also limiting those food groups, which also limits those nutrients associated with them. So if you're cutting out nutrients for a specific eating style, make sure you know how you were going to get these nutrients in. There are some other things to keep in mind when you're considering an eating style too. So in general, try to avoid eating styles that offer quick fixes or solutions or promise a rapid weight loss. Eating styles that offer simplistic solutions for complex studies. So in other words, if they're trying to say, hey, this study is just saying that you need to eat more bananas, that's too simple of a conclusion to that complex study. If an eating style is based on one study. So often research requires multiple studies to kind of show and help us lead us to a better conclusion. One study is not enough usually in the scientific community to provide a basis for an eating style that would be good, considered good. Claims that are not consistent with reputable scientific organizations. You know, a lot of people do, and some rightfully so, have concerns as far as certain organizations and their funding, etc. But you know, when the American Diabetes Association and the American Heart Association, the CDC, and the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, a lot of them say the same thing. They all kind of agree on certain things. They have papers that they publish that have certain policies that they follow, and for certain things that they're not making up, but they're papers that are published as far as these are what we consider to be good evidence-based practice. And so when something goes against that, it's a lot of data that they're also going against. So trying to be careful about that. Eating styles are plans that tell you don't have to change your nutrition to start exercising. So quick pill that you don't even have to start dieting or anything to see the results you want. Lists of foods that you should only eat, or lists of foods that you should never touch. So if you have foods that you should never eat, unless it's an actual allergy, you might be careful about that. Eating styles that eliminate food groups. Eating styles that have testimonials. So all of the celebrity press as far as having to have somebody testify that this is a great eating style. If it's a healthy eating style, they likely wouldn't need somebody famous to promote it. Also avoid recommendations that don't take into considerations between individuals' differences. So if they're saying that every single woman should be following a 1,200 calorie diet, or every single person in the world needs to follow this specific thing, it's likely not a great choice. Also, eating styles found in a journal that's not peer reviewed. So magazines, Men's Health, Women's Health, all of those. If you can find it at a grocery store in the checkout aisle, they often haven't been published in scientific journals. If they haven't been researched, then it's harder to say, yep, this is a great diet or a great eating style. So again, if you're trying to change your eating style for weight loss or health benefits, something else to take into consideration is, are you going to be able to keep doing this for the rest of your life? Is this something that you can maintain? Because if it's not something that you can maintain, it might actually cause more harm than good. It might lead to more weight fluctuations, which actually has a greater health risk associated with it. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So how do we take all of this? You got your weight management goals, and how do we start playing this in with SMART goals as far as, can we make something more specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely? How can we apply this to our lives? So specific, what specifically do you want to accomplish? Measurable, how much, how many? Make it something that you can see a difference. Attainable, do you have what you need to accomplish or achieve this specific goal? Is it something that you can do yourself? Realistic? Does the goal match your needs? And timely. What can I do today? What can I do 6 weeks from now? Maybe I start next week. Maybe I can do it 6 months from now. What am I trying to accomplish? Other things to kind of take into consideration. Why is this goal important to you? What motivates you? Who's going to support you and how? What are your barriers and how are you going to overcome them? So if you have more questions on weight management or pertaining to different eating styles, feel free to email me. You can also schedule an appointment with your Everside Health clinician to talk about what you can do for the healthiest version of you. Here's our location and hours of operation. Again, my contact information is right here. Just a note again that we are now open at 7:30 a.m. on Thursdays instead of 10 a.m. and we are still open until 7 p.m. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. But other than that, I hope you all have a great day.